Here we are. Greetings, folks. TMOT back again for another drive time. I pulled over so that I can take my time and go through this. Let me do a little bit of house cleaning. You know, it's hard to find a video that ain't full of a bunch of BS these days. Fake titles or clickbait titles. You get in there and it's something completely different. I don't even do it anymore. However, independent sources are where you find the information that you need because you cannot trust corporate media. And to a degree, you cannot trust Fox, especially if you're dealing with somebody like Hannity or somebody like Mark Levine, who's mad with Trump over how he's dealing with Ukraine. And you know what? Hopefully I'll remember to talk about Ukraine. Maybe somebody can type in the chat, ATMOT, you forgot to say something about Ukraine. I've talked about Ukraine before, but I want to give you a little background information. So that's that. You can count on me to give you the facts that you need to understand the landscape of what. I'm not going to clickbait you. All right, that's number one. Number two, I want you to subscribe if you are not a subscriber already, because YouTube, you know how they do their thing. And it's not because I'm looking to blow up on YouTube. I don't care nothing about that. If I did, I would be doing my shows differently or my drive times differently than what I do, the way I do them. You know, I'm not all fancy. I'm not doing fade ins and fade outs. I don't care about that. I just want to give you the information. Thank you very much. I am 6. So that's where we are with that. And thirdly, share. Okay. Fourth, what have I always told you? If you want to put something in the super chat, $1.99, $1.99, that's good with me. But if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you got to go into the description and see how to do it, and you can treat me to a cup of coffee. All right, I'm not asking for much more than that, but there are those of you that do kick up a lot more than that, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Diane, for what you just kicked up. I appreciate it. So let's go on and get right into this, folks. Chief Counsel for the ATF, Pamela Hicks, has been fired. Now, she looked like she was hit with a man stick. So y'all figure out what I mean by that. But she was definitely a DEI employee. Now, let me explain DEI. Most people think that DEI means on the surface what the acronym says: diversity, equity, and inclusion. No. For the Negro that don't get it, the DEI employees, you only accounted for 4% of them, 3.6, I believe, to be correct. Most of the people getting those jobs were sophomorites, and in particular, white females. So get a clue. And when you look at Chief Counsel ATF Pamela Hicks, who just got fired, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Those people out there in California, the fire chief, you should understand where I'm coming from. What it was about was bringing in sophomorites, trans people, women who thought they were men, white liberals, extremists. That's what the DEI was about. Ain't give a damn about black people. And something I needed to put out there, my pastor, and I had a problem. We got up in the pulpit and said that Moses was a DEI employee. I just said, and that's got to be one of the most ignorant things I have ever heard. And everybody going, yeah, amen, yeah, well, like, fools. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it what it is. Moses was not. Moses was educated and Moses was qualified. Now, he might have thought that he wasn't, because, you know, he said he had a stutter, but that has nothing to do with DEI. Oh, and guess what? Only the Hebrews were qualified. All right. There was no diversity, equity, or inclusion with that. All right. All of those leaders were of the 12 tribes. Okay. Is what it is. That's just a little aside for you to take home when you're trying to explain this nonsense to people. All right. There, I said I was going to talk about some people that got fired. They are putting out, yes, CNN. Trump is firing people and trying to and blaming the 5 crashes that we have had in the last 30 days. Ain't got a damn thing to do with Trump. Trump did not fire air traffic controllers. Trump fired probationary employees that dealt with administrative stuff and maintenance. That was it. He didn't fire a single air traffic controller, an ATC. But that's what the media is telling you, because they want you to think that Trump made the skies unsafe. They talked about the inspectors generals. Trump fired 17 of them because they were extremists. Trump is making it clear there is no room for DEI employees or liberal extremists in the government that I'm in charge of. He got rid of 17, but guess how many there are? 73. So the bulk of them kept their jobs. It was 17 that got fired. Now imagine this. I'm shifting gears. Cash is in, but look at Schiff. Imagine the man that is now in charge of the FBI and was responsible for exposing your Russia hoax. Think about that. Now, I have not seen it officially, that Schiff actually went to Biden and asked for a pardon. Either way, he got a pardon, so he has immunity. But that can't stop him from being called to testify and tell the truth, nor Hunter Biden. So that's something that a lot of people have not thought about. So there may be people in the periphery that may end up getting taken down by this. Another note, since we're talking about fraud and abuse, Boeing charged the government $4,000 for soap dispensers and an 8,000% increase over what the normal market would charge. And they just say, oh, just go ahead and approve it. And they approved it. I remember back when I was in the Navy, there was an expose that talked about hammers that we paid $500 for and toilet seats that we paid $250 for. So that stuff is still going on. So I hope now that you understand diversity, equity, and inclusion and what it's all about. Then, getting back to Ukraine, I said I was going to talk about that. Putin has agreed to letting Ukraine join the European Union. But guess what? Absolutely no NATO. And that's what this is all about. And if you have been paying attention, going back to the Obama days, Victoria Nuland, at the behest of Obama, is the one that implemented this by causing the replacement regime change in Ukraine. To what end? So that they could launder money, number one, and so that they could get entangled, so that we could get entangled in another war, a proxy war with Russia. Russia has always said Ukraine will not join NATO. You will not put missiles at our back door. And I've talked about this in a previous video about the Monroe Doctrine. Go and look that up, because that is exactly what we did when Russia tried to put missiles in our back door with Cuba. We weren't having it, and we were on the brink of nuclear war then, but wasn't trying to hear it. What else has been exposed by DOGE? A $27 billion scam involving Stacey Adams and Kamala Harris. That has been exposed. More to come on that. Not to mention Stacey Abrams, her company received $2 billion from USA. Man, all of this stuff is coming out. Everybody keeps saying, I want to see arrests. I want to see patience, grasshopper. All of that is coming. Now, here's a statement from J.D. Vance, and I'm going to read it verbatim. The money that pays for illegal immigrants benefits didn't fall from heaven. I'm sorry, Senator John Kennedy. My bad for attributing that to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance read those folks over there in Germany, the riot act when it came to them arresting that man that was within 75 feet of an abortion clinic for silently praying, telling them, hey, this ain't what it's about. Put them in check. They did not like it. And they showed a video where they were going and knocking on people's doors and arresting them because they posted hate speech online. And he said, that is what the liberals want here in America. Thank God, man, Trump got in. All right, let me finish reading this quote from Senator John Kennedy. The money that pays for illegal immigrants benefits didn't fall from heaven. It came out of American pockets. Under President Trump, America is done rewarding lawbreakers. And that's where we are. Another thing that I want to point out about Trump, and the source of this is Bill O'Reilly, and I've told you most of his predictions suck. But when it comes to going and getting the facts, the man does the research like I do. I consume massive amounts of research. I eat the meat, spit out the bone and fat, and then I bring you what's left, stuff that you can count on, that you can go and verify, that you can do what needs to be done with it so that you know what's going on. So that's how this works. Now, I hope I didn't lose my point. At any rate, somebody else, pastor that I know, sent out this mass text saying, order your COVID test because the Trump administration has shut all of that down. After midnight tonight, you can't get them. I did a simple Google search, pulled up the correct information. Trump administration reverses plan to end free COVID test program. Now, let me tell you what's behind that. Nobody has been requesting them, and the government has been stockpiling them, and they were going bad, and it cost a lot of money to keep them in storage. So they were ending the program. But then they say because we're in this new flu season, now I don't know what the hell it's got to do with COVID, maybe we ought to keep them. I guess there are going to be some people that's going to be tripping, thinking that because they get a cough or sneeze, they need to check to see if they've got COVID. So they're keeping them. You can still order them. But after the flu season, man, them free tests, you can forget about that. So you better get all that you're going to get if you are one of those hypochondriac, hyper or hydrochondriac people. If you're one of those, I think it's hypochondriac, hypochondriac people, you better go on and order as many as you can. And I remember the point that I was trying to make a moment ago before I get to the last thing that I'm going to talk about is I go through all of this nonsense so you don't have to, all right? And then I bring to you the more salient points. Now, this is my last point. Back in August of 2024, I put something out on Facebook. A guy asked me, what do you think Trump is going to do? Now, mind you, I put this out August of 2024. All right. And in my post on Facebook, I said worth repeating. And I'm going to mention his name because he used to give me hell over some things. Staunch Democrat. Couldn't tell him nothing. Hated Trump. TDS to the max. You know what? I'm not going to mention his name. I'm just going to say VB. All right. First initial, last name. VB, I'll be your huckleberry and answer your question about what should we do. I said, number one, no heels up Harris or tampon walls. Guess what? We didn't get them. I said, number 2, Trump will seal the border. What's happening? Illegal immigrant crossings are down 90%. 90%. Okay? And he's got Mexico helping. That's right. 10,000 troops on the border wall. Number 3, I said Trump will deport illegals. What's happening right now? Trump is deporting illegals. I said Trump will start back drilling. First thing Trump did, first day, signed executive orders unlocking drilling, which Biden has shut down. I said Trump will end the war in Ukraine. This deserves another mention. Trump knows that Zeke is a crook and that he was laundering money. That's why he didn't bring him to the table. And that's why he said what he said about Zeke. Zeke, you had 3 years at the table. You didn't do nothing because the man was laundering money. Trump knows that he was laundering money for U.S. politicians. And Trump didn't want him involved. That's why he's dealing with Russia. So I said, number 5, Trump will end that war. Trump will end the war in Israel. Hell, that war stopped before Trump even got in office. And they started releasing hostages. And more hostages have been released. And I'm telling you now, another prediction, Trump is going to get rid of Hamas. Period. All right? I put it out there. I said number 7, Trump will end the sodomite agenda. That has happened. DEI. He's not even allowing the Associated Press into his press conferences for a couple of reasons. They want to use those gender-affirming terms, as he put it, and Trump ain't having none of it. And they refuse to acknowledge that it's the Gulf of America. All right? Hey, Trump, when he goes in on you, Trump goes in hard. And number 8, Trump will make trade balanced and equitable. That's what the tariffs are all about. All of these things I said would happen last year in August. And you see them happening now. And we are just in the first 32 days. Now, this bit of information, this was sourced from Bill O'Reilly. That's where I got this from. Trump has accomplished more than any president in history. And the president that comes in number 2 is George Washington. And I think the president that comes in number 3 would be Lincoln, because a man with my melanin tone, excuse me, Abe Lincoln freed my forefathers. He was responsible for ending slavery here in America. So, you have heard it. If you got anything out of this video, subscribe and share it with your friends. If it was meaningful to you, buy a brother a cup of coffee and call it a day. All right? TMOT out. Drive time. Till next time. Next time I'll be driving. Peace.